Hey everybody, this is Tony over Class Eagles. Hope you're having a great day. At the start of a season, a focus for a lot of coaches with their teams and their players is going to be on their fitness. In order to get prepared for the season, usually in most preseason regiments, there's a decent amount of fitness that's planned at training sessions to help the players be physically prepared for when games begin. And this is, the right way to think about it. You want your players to be able to, at the first game, step on the field and be able to compete for an entire game without getting tired, which helps them perform better and helps prevent injuries. With that being said, when especially for youth coaches, when we think about fitness, we often do not think of it with the ball. And I'm a firm believer that almost every single thing you do in training should have the ball involved from the start to the finish. And this includes fitness. And it might just change or it might require a little bit of a change the way we think about fitness and how we run fitness in training sessions for players, but it's not overly difficult to do. And it also might challenge in terms of what you also think about as fitness. The game of soccer itself is a lot of running, so a lot of training activities themselves incorporate a lot of fitness, and we can manipulate activities to make them more physically demanding and challenge the players that way, especially in an environment before the season begins to really help them improve their fitness levels. So what I see often, especially with young teams and coaches, is that sometimes the players will just run, whether it's before practice or as the start of practice or at the end of practice. Kids are either running around the field or just doing sprints. And again, running and sprinting, it helps from a fitness standpoint, but why can't we involve the ball in those? And there's really no reason not to. If you're going to have the players run, if you're doing something as simple as running around the field or doing wind sprints, and that's how you have your session set up, that's okay. But why not involve the ball? The players can run with the ball, and frankly, the game requires them to. So you can work on fitness, and at the most basic level, when it just comes to running, you can always involve the ball at their feet in some way. There's a lot of ways to do that. There's a lot of ways to create creatively, have them, have the ball at their feet for parts of runs or parts of sprints, or how they might change direction with the ball as they're running with it, leaving the ball for another player. There are a ton of resources online to show how you can do most of the same type of running or agility activities you do without the ball, with the ball. So right then and there, I mean, from just the most basic fitness and running activities, the ball can be involved. When it comes to training activities, one thing to do is manipulate the space of a game. You can play a 2v2 or 3v3 game, in a much larger space than, typically you would. And that would require a lot more running from the players playing the game. You play short, quick games that are intense or require a lot of running, sprinting they're competitive, and that's going to challenge the players physically and help improve their fitness levels. You can make sure you're keeping games to smaller numbers. When games get into larger numbers, there's less running often. There's more walking, there's jogging. Playing in larger space and having less numbers, players stay more involved, which again requires more running and improves their fitness. The other type of activities I would strongly suggest are a lot of 1v1 type of training. Players competing against another player, trying to take them on with a soccer ball, dribble past them, or shield and protect the ball. There are hundreds of ways to set up activities like that. But again, in a 1v1 activity, there's no rest, there's no break, there's no hiding. It is physically very taxing, just like a wrestling match. It's just you and that other player, and you have to compete and work hard and outwork that player. So from a competitive environment, from a physical environment, they're going to be challenged. And again, it's going to help their overall fitness level. Something as simple as just footwork with the ball. We don't think about that as fitness, but if done the right way, it is very taxing on the legs. It's tiring to do those type of foot skills you see. Some people refer to them as quarter work with the ball, but those repetitive footwork activities, really challenge a player's leg strength and fitness level. And not just that, but then also their ability to keep control of the ball and keep their speed up as they get tired. How technically sharp are they as they're getting fatigued, which works on a whole other aspect of the game, which is critical. And all this does, if you're working on fitness as they're playing the game, it also is challenging players mentally to stay sharp and focused as their legs start getting tired, as their legs are burning a little bit, as their legs are heavy. Are they still as technically clean, or do they start making more mistakes? Because this game is played tired. And when you're doing fitness with the ball and you're doing activities that are challenging the player's fitness while playing the game, you're actually helping them be more successful in the match, because you can be fit, but at the same time, if you start getting tired and you mentally don't know how to handle, how to continue to stay sharp and stay engaged in the game and making sure you're doing the small things correct, you're still going to make mistakes and struggle. So the bottom line is, when you start thinking about fitness with your teams at the start of the season, when you're thinking of any type of fitness activity or what you're trying to do that day in terms of improving fitness and preparation for the season, think think to yourself, how can you involve the ball? How can I relate it even more to the game? So it's not just fitness, but it really works on other areas of the game that the players need to improve on as well. With a lot of us as youth coaches who may only have a couple hours a week with players, it's much more efficient with your time, and it doesn't take away critical time with the ball, critical time playing the game that is very important for players to continue to grow, develop, and get better. And the final piece of this, I'll say, is that the players enjoy it more. When you get players just running and sprinting, I sometimes don't feel like they put as much effort in as they do when they're actually playing the game. So in terms of how hard they're running and how hard they're pushing themselves, if you do within the context of the game and you make it competitive, they're working even harder and they're getting even more out of it than they would if you just put them on the line and told them to sprint from point A to B.